Hey cats, what's happening? Did you ever try to do a simple task and turns out to be a major fiasco? That's kind of where I'm at. I thought, before it got any worse, I'd run the snowblower up and down the driveway. I've got this Husky, I think I bought it at TSC or something, snowblower. It's got like a 2-foot wide blade on it, and it does real well at going up and down, about, 4, 6 passes up and down, and the driveway's done. So I thought, well, before it snows anymore, I would probably get that thing out and run it down the driveway and back. Well, that was easier said than done. This thing's probably about 10, 12 years old. And really, when you boil it down, it only has a few hours on it, because how many times do you actually go out and snow blow around here in Northeast Ohio, where I live? I don't think it was even used. It hasn't been touched in the last 2 years, because we just didn't have any snow. But we had some snow this year, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to get the thing out, start it up, and take it down the driveway. Well, so first thing I thought, well, I better top off the fuel tank. Well, my fuel can was all the way out there in the shed, and the shed doors were frozen shut. So I had to monkey around to get in there, and I found the fuel can completely empty, of course. So that entailed a trip to the gas station to fill up my 5-gallon fuel can. Came home, I topped off the fuel tank, pulled it about 20 times, and it finally started, but it was blowing out smoke, and it was sputtering. It would only run on choke, and then it stalled on me. And then it was one of those things where I could not get it started again. I pulled and pulled and pulled, and finally the pull cord snapped. So I had this, that pull cord assembly there, and I took the thing off. It was a super pain in the butt to get off. There's only 2 little tiny tap screws, one there and one in the very bottom, to take, and then that slides off. Well, you think that wouldn't be too difficult, but oh my gosh, what a pain in the neck. The way they design these things. I mean, if you can see, this little screw bolt here is right behind this shroud, and you try to use a socket and it won't fit square on there. The one underneath, you can't put a ratchet on there because there's not enough room. So I had to use a little box wrench, an open-end combination wrench, and work those little screws out and pull the thing off. Well, I thought I'd just put a new rope in it, I mean, I've done that on lawn mowers and other equipment before. It's not a big deal. These pull starts on these things are like machine pressed. I don't know how you fix it. There's no, like the other ones, you had a bolt you could take apart in the middle, and you could take the guts out of it, put a new cord in it, throw it back in, and you were good to go. Well, not this one. Not this one. So I thought, oh boy, now what am I going to do? It does have an electric start. You plug it in here, and you hit the button, and it cranks over. But that hasn't worked in years. It froze up years ago, and I could never get it to work again. So I took the pull starter, and I got to looking at it, and I thought, well, it broke off kind of close to the handle, so let me see what I can do. And I was able to reach in there with a little pair of needle nose pliers that I have, and I fished the frayed end out, and there was still plenty of cord there, and I tied the handle back on, and I was good to go again. Well, I pulled and I yanked and I pulled and I yanked, and that thing would not fire again for the life of me. Well, then next thing I know, the whole thing broke way down inside. So there was no fixing it anymore. And then I'm like, now what am I going to do? You know? I mean, that's the way they do things nowadays, though. You can't fix it like the old days. They make it so you can't fix it. And I suppose there's a way you could have drilled out the thing and taken it apart and put a new string in it and figured out how to put it back together again with the spring and the whole thing, and then peen over the, I don't know. I didn't, it looked like a can of worms to me, and I wasn't ready to do that because it's cold. The weather could get a lot worse, though, so at least when it's like this, I can still work on it. So I didn't know what to do. Anyways, I brought it in here and I plugged it in just to try it, because I thought, well, it's my last resort. Otherwise, I got to figure out how to get another pull starter for this thing. And I hit the button, and lo and behold, the thing cranked. And I don't think I would have ever started it with the pull cord, because it cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked. I primed it. I did all kinds of stuff. And finally it started. And it blew out smoke for a while, and I think it was just old gas that was in there from a couple years ago. And then it started running smooth again, and I was able to go up and down the driveway a few times with the thing. As you can see, though, when I do my driveway, I hit this gravel and it spits rocks. So I didn't do the center of the driveway. I just did the two wheel tracks on each side. And really, it's not that bad. It's easy to get in and out of here right now. So I was able to do that and took it back to the garage. And then I go online because I thought, well, I'll find a new pull starter unit for it. Well, I could find everything but the model for this Tecumseh engine. And I entered the model number in every which way I could and come up with that pull starter unit. It just wouldn't match anything that came up. I finally found one, and they wanted almost $60 for it, for the pull starter thing. And I was beside myself. I thought, man, I mean, I'm not a cheapskate, but I'm thinking $60 for that piece of crap, a simple little mechanism, a pull start thing. And what it was is the handle is a bigger handle made for mittens. The same starter comes in a different model number with a small, like a lawnmower pull cord or handle. But it's the same unit, just the handle was the only thing that was different on it. So I went ahead and I found one on eBay that just had the lawnmower pull handle, and I ordered that. So now I gotta, whenever that comes, who knows where it's gonna come from, China or Taiwan or Timbuktu. When it gets here, I'll have to swap that out. But in the meantime, I hope the electric starter keeps working. Now, if we would have had a big snowfall, I would have been up a creek, because then I would have been in here doing those repairs, and who knows what I would have run into. But anyway, oh yeah, and right before I went to take it out, I realized both of the tires were flat too, so I had to get air back in those and make sure they weren't leaking. But okay, I'm back in business for now. So, not completely, because if the electric start doesn't work, I gotta have a pull starter on this thing. And you know, you'd think, well, why don't you just go out and buy a new snowblower? Well, you know, they're not cheap. What, 800 bucks or something for a snowblower? And this thing's still fine. The engine's still fine. The mechanism's still fine. I mean, it still works good. The only problem I've ever had was because I have a gravel driveway. The shear pins shear on the auger there, but that's made to do that, so you don't mess up anything else inside the motor. So yeah, I'll tell you what, when it rains it pours around here, and sometimes an easy job turns into a major, frustrating can of worm fiasco. It's cold out there. Got my nose running again. You know, considering a machine like that I'm gonna guess, even though that thing is like 12 years old, that it probably has less than 50 hours of use on it. But even then, I mean, you'd think that was like almost practically a brand new machine. But when you have a machine like that that just sits and you don't use it, there's a lot of things that go bad, you know, like that pole start cord. They just get dry rotted, and they're not going to stand up to the tugging like a new cord would. The tires get dry rotted. The beads on the rims will leak. I think I put tubes in those tires, so they're holding air, but they were completely flat when I pulled it out of the garage. I mean, the carburetor's going to get gummed up just from sitting. So had I been wise, I probably should have done an annual maintenance on that. Made sure that the gas tank was, in the fall, you know, I should have taken the thing out, filled up the gas tank, checked the oil, whatever I needed to do, made sure it started, and, you know, let it run for a while. Because when it sits that long, I don't care if you put Stabil in the gas tank or whatever, it's just not going to start up when it sits that long. The carburetor's just going to get gummed up regardless. So, yeah, my own fault. Almost caught with my pants down out there, figuratively speaking. Because if we would have had a blizzard and a real situation where I needed that snowblower, I'd have had a rough time trying to get that, you know, up and running. It took me a good part of the day yesterday to get where I am with it. And really, where am I? No. The only thing really I did was put air in the tires and filled up the gas tank, because I wasn't able to fix the pull starter, and the electric starter finally did work. So I guess, you know, at least it still runs. Oh boy. Now another machine that I have is my old Husqvarna mower out in the shed, the 48-inch mower deck. It's beat up. It's got a lot of hours on it, a lot of use, and as of last fall, the last time I used it, the engine started missing sporadically. So, I mean, it would be running fine, and then all of a sudden it would just lose like half the power and just start sputtering and choking and coughing. And then all of a sudden it would start running fine again. And it just kept doing that over and over. So I don't know. I tried to troubleshoot it a little bit, but I'm going to have to dig into the engine and see. It almost seems like there's a short somewhere in the coil or the plug wire or something where it hits something and starts shorting out, and then it then it connects again. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a carburetor issue to me. Worst case scenario is, I mean, it's a twin cylinder. Is a valve sticking in there or something? I don't know. But it doesn't seem good to me. And now I don't want to spend a lot of money fixing it up either. If it's a major issue, I might just sell it as is, and whoever buys it, it's no returns. Take it or leave it. I mean, I might get 250 bucks out of it. If not anything else, it's a parts mower, right? Because there's a lot of stuff going on there it's not. It wasn't going to last. That was my reason for buying a new one. So I still got to deal with the old mower and figure out what I'm going to do with it, and probably see if I could just sell it on the marketplace the way it is, and take what I can get for it. It's a wolf moon. 4 o'clock this morning. The moon is just as bright in the sky as the sun, and it's lighting up the yard. You can see the shadows of the trees. Special treat for you today. I got up out of bed and got dressed just to come out for this. I hope it shows up on the camera, because it's pretty cool. Oh, it's only 5 degrees out here. And morning has broken. Temperatures come up quite a bit. It's 9 degrees now. So a little too chilly for me to hang out here, but breathing some fresh air is always good, and I love to see that morning sunrise. Just gorgeous. I could say it's going to be a long winter. The high today is going to be 17. Cold. I've been keeping the house nice and toasty warm, but I do have to go out, and I don't look forward to that. My yard is completely peppered with deer tracks, squirrel tracks, all kinds of animal trails out there. Of course, you can't see it, but you know, they're just. We haven't had any new snow in the past week, and the animals are out here constantly, so it's just tracked. Looks like a cattle yard out there. So, yeah, my birds have been busy. It's funny watching the birds, because they'll take turns at the feeder. I'll watch the junco land and get a seed and fly away, and then a chickadee lands and flies away, and then the blue jay lands and gets a seed and flies away, and then a cardinal comes and gets a seed, and it's like they take turns. Like, they're all very polite with each other. And of course the woodpecker likes to stay on the suet cage there and just peck away at the suet. And then every once in a while, every single one of them will disappear for like an hour. I won't see one bird come to the feeder, and then all of a sudden they come back again. So I don't know, sometimes I think, well, is there a hawk in the area, something danger that they don't come around, or are they on like a break? they got to take a break during the day, take a nap or something. I don't know, it's strange, but I love watching the birds, the animals, the deer, and yeah, it's all part of the spectrum around here. Much as I hate to, I have to head out today and pick up some groceries. Thank goodness for the remote start on the truck, because I can stay in the house, start it up, let it warm up out here, so that I don't have to get into a freezing cold vehicle. Well, cats, I'm off. Heading into town. Ice cold steering wheel, but you know, you'll get that this time of year. Well, cats, I got my week or two supply of groceries, and actually it was quite pleasant today. There was hardly anybody at Walmart. 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I think it was too cold for everybody. It's 14 degrees right now, and it is starting to snow a little bit. I don't know if we'll get any accumulation. It's a very, very light snow, but still pretty cold. So yeah, my shopping expedition went very well this morning, very smooth. I had almost every aisle to myself, which is a complete rarity for the grocery store. And not to mention the traffic is extremely light this morning, so I think a lot of people stayed in their cocoons and didn't even want to come out today, but I'm glad that I did. I gotta go home and carry all this stuff in the house, put it all away, and that's done for another week or two. And then figure out what I'm going to fix for my dinner tonight. Well, thanks for joining me on this walk in life today. Nothing real thrilling or exciting, but you know, a couple of little blessings along the way. I'll keep all you guys in my prayers. As well as I appreciate the prayers and support that you guys give me. Incredible. Thanks for your comments and for, you know, giving me some great suggestions too. It helps me out an awful lot. Well, if you like my videos, you can hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. It helps to boost my ratings a little bit. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Continue to join us, and I'll do my best to entertain through these dreary, cold, boring winter months where I'm practically stir crazy in the house. Sometimes getting out like this just to go to the grocery store actually kind of lifts my spirits, because it gives me some social time with real people. I usually go to the self-checkout at the store, and this morning, for some reason, all the self-checkouts were closed. So I went through the cashier lane, and the cashier's this little old Asian lady, Virginia, and I've known her for years and years and years, and she was, you know, loved Val. Her and Val would always, you know, have a conversation while they were unloading, while she was scanning the groceries there and unloading the cart. So it was pleasant to see Virginia this morning and have a nice little conversation with her. Such a sweet lady. And, you know, my heart goes out to people like her, because she's probably a little older than me and she still has to work. And she was complaining about that there's something in that store that she has allergies to, and once she gets out of the store she's fine, but every time she comes to work those allergies hit her. And I have to, you know, I have to feel for her, because I mean, who knows what's in that store? They probably put chemicals all over those clothes that are hanging up. Those clothes that are hanging up in there. Not to mention she's handling, you know, everything that comes through that line she's handling. So, you know, whether she's handling food items or clothing or anything else that's off the rack, she's coming in contact with everything in that store, and it's no wonder. I never even thought about it before, but sure, there are probably some things like that do affect cashiers, I'm sure, in the long run. Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but I think she's absolutely right, and she can't wait to retire. She says she's hoping she can retire in a year or so. All right, cats, well, that's all I got today. Like I said, I'm heading home here in a minute and got to unload all this stuff. Joy, joy. Till next time, I'll catch you all later.